Okay, start. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. All right. So today we'll start with international relations. Okay. So international relation and your India and the world. Okay. India and the world is nothing but extension of whatever we will read in your international relation. Fine. India and the world, simply as the name suggests, India's relationship with different countries, neighbors, great powers, international organizations, regional organizations, all these things. Fine. Chalo. Now, first let's talk what are the things that we will be discussing in this prescribed syllabus of international relation. Okay. We have to stick by syllabus, and remember, this is the most interesting part, and this is the most interesting, entire area is most interesting, conceptual, and if you understand the particularly the structural aspect of international relation plus the India and the world, then you can score extremely high. Here, one of the major problems that students face while writing answers, they end up writing stories. They don't bring the structural aspect. Very few answers I have seen which have this structural aspect in their answers, and because of that, you have their marks are like 130, 120, okay, and likewise, okay. But do remember that we have this opportunity to score 180 even in this particular paper. 180 people have scored previously. 150 marks is considered as exceptional marks, but I am saying your score can go as high as 180 if your answer include the structural part. If you are able to analyze the structural shift that is happening right now, you will understand everything. Okay, पूरा दुनिया समझ में आएगा what exactly is happening, why it is happening. Okay, so that is what we are going to study. Fine. So first thing, when I say international relations, okay, what the syllabus include? पहला चीज ये देखते हैं. Okay, what the syllabus include? What are the things we have to study? First, the most important aspect of the syllabus is approaches. I am not sure whether you have heard the term realism, liberalism or not, okay, but those things comes under approaches. Fine. Next, we will talk about some concepts related to international relation, like for example, national interest, okay, for example, hegemony, for example, balance of power, okay. All these things are part of your concepts. Fine. That is point number 2. Thick. Third thing that we will be talking about, that your regionalization of global politics. Regionalization of global politics. When you say Europe, now Europe is not one country, right? It's a unification of several countries, right? Now if you see their behavior, their behavior, particularly economic behavior, would remain the same, though other countries have different national interests, different countries has different priorities, different country has different level of development. Western European country like Germany, France, Netherlands, they are developed, more developed. Eastern European country, if you see, then this Hungary, Austria, all these things, Greece, all these countries are relatively poor country. Okay. So, level of development determines your national strength. Okay. China today is very powerful. People will say whether China is powerful or not. What is being presented in the world and what reality is are two different things. When we will discuss China, I will tell you exactly whether China is a balloon or it has substance. देखेंगे, ठीक है, चलो. Now, so level of development determines the national capacity. When India was $1 trillion economy, Indian capacity was less. Simple. When India is $4 trillion, Indian capacity is more. When India will become $40 trillion economy, Indian capacity will be different. Okay? है कि नहीं है? Agreed? Okay. So, though a unified bloc है Europe का European Union, but when you see one country, then its level of development is this, someone's level of development is this, someone's level of development is this. But when you see the club, then it's a unified group. Their foreign policy is very much same. How come they became same? Southeast Asia, if you go, then their foreign policy will will appear at least very much same. So how come this has emerged in international relation? That we have to see. ठीक है? Changing international political order. Some people say America is the hegemon. Some people say no, America is not no more a superpower. America is a declining power. ठीक है? Few years back, almost 20 years back, if you see, okay, no one can challenge America. But in today, small country like Iran is not just challenging, but it appears that militaristically it has defeated US. Strait of Hormuz and all this problem you must be hearing in the news. Okay. Now, so changing international political order. Okay. Previously, Soviet Union and USA was the two superpower. Then Soviet Union gone. Only one superpower remained. That is United States of America. इसीलिए उसको कहते हैं क्या? Hegemon. ठीक है? One who maintain absolute hegemony. When you see them, you don't see them just another country. You see them as a superpower, the only power, single power. Then slowly and gradually, the relic of Soviet Union, let's call it Russia. Russian power started rising under Putin. Similarly, China rose. Similarly, India also rose. Okay. Now, when you see the world of 1990s, that world was different. Single superpower. When you see the world of 2020 and beyond, there is no one single superpower. ठीक है? So, the international political order is changing. Okay? Then, major things. Contemporary issues. Contemporary issues. There are many issues. Issues related to environmental problems. Okay? Environmental problems. There are many summits that happened. Okay? That summits are part of our international relation. Why? Because environmental problem is not a problem that can be resolved by one country. Even if India ने decide किया कि no forest, cut नहीं करना है forest को, कुछ नहीं करना है, whatever is there let's preserve it, ठीक है, and whatever has been lost let's conserve it, okay. But can India actually change it by doing that? I'm asking. Answer to this question is absolutely no. No one can do it single-handedly. It's a global problem. So entire globe has to come together. When they will come together, then something magnificent might happen. Will happen or not can't be said with certainty, but we can have a genuine attempt that way, okay. We can have a very genuine attempt that way, all right. So that is one thing. Similarly, terrorism, okay, terrorism. Now if let's say India tries its best कि terrorism khatam karna hai, can we stop it? Answer is no. As long as terrorist networks are there, as long as radical people are there beyond our border, problem is bound to happen. People get radicalized through social media. We don't need a preacher to preach me कि ऐसा करोगे तो ऐसा हो जाएगा, वैसा करोगे तो वैसा हो जाएगा. In fact, through social media, previously when ISIS was there, अभी भी still it is there, but that time उसका जलवा अलग था, okay, few years back, okay. So when ISIS was there, many people, many Indian men and women, some from Kerala, some from Pune, some from Assam, some from Delhi, some from UP, some from MP, some from your Bangalore. They never met any terrorist ever in their lifetime. Yet through social media they got influenced and joined, went away, okay, illegally transported themselves into Syria to fight for whatever cause they think is correct. One country cannot solve it. America tried its level best, fought two wars, okay, two full-fledged wars. One in Afghanistan, another one was in Syria, Iraq, okay, abhi they are fighting in Iran. $7 trillion invested, thousands of lives lost, American soldiers gone. And because of all these things, diversion and so much of expenditure, their position of a hegemon or superpower, it has eroded. तो क्या मतलब terrorism खत्म? Still terrorism is there, right? So one country, no matter how powerful that country might be, cannot stop it. Okay. So those are issues, are contemporary issues, many issues, but these are the issues. Human rights is again one such issues. Okay. So these are contemporary issues. Then evolution and functioning of international political and economic system. What do you think? UN today is relevant? We have not read UN, but I am asking you, is it relevant today? What's your opinion? United Nations, UNO, is it relevant today? Relevancy in all terms? What is its mandate? Relevant, okay. Main mandate of UN is to stop war. Main number one mandate is to stop war. Ukraine war failed, 5 years continuing. Iran war chal hi raha hai. Every second day there is some sort of problem, okay, right? Stop kar paya? Nahi. Cambodia and Thailand war stopped. 5 days or 4 days so down in Operation Sindoor. Can they do anything about it? How can you say they are relevant? If I quote these examples, it appears that they are no more relevant. Their main mandate is to stop war. In its main mandate, they are not. Otherwise, office khol lo, baithe raho, kya jata hai? Discuss anything you want to discuss. Does it bring anything to you? Answer is no, absolutely not. So, how those systems evolved, how those systems are functioning, what is its current status? That is something we have to understand as well. So, broad level if you see, then these are the things that we will be studying. Among this, the most important thing is part is this and this. Why? Not in terms of question, try and understand. Not in terms of question. Out of these two, maybe 2 questions they will ask, maybe at best 3. Okay. But understanding these things will help you in interlinking these concepts with anything that you explain. Anything that you explain. Absolutely anything. So, these 2 things will become the base. Yes. These 2 things will become the base of your understanding of international relation, even India and the world. Okay. Section B भी इसके लिए important है. Remember it. These are the 2 things that will become the base of your understanding. And as I told you, paper 2 is extremely high scoring, provided you understand it. So, one suggestion from my side, and all question will come from your notes, guarantee, provided you do one thing. Read news related to international relation from the newspaper. Later on, I will also tell you the name of some of the websites and the name of some of the authors, okay, whose point of view holds huge relevance as far as international relation is concerned. Lastly, when India and the world tak khatam ho jayega, then I will tell you the technique to write answers of international relation. Okay. The syllabus of international relation plus India and the world is the smallest syllabus in the entire paper 1, paper 2 included. So, paper 2, the one we have started, their syllabus is equal to even less than the syllabus of paper 1 section A, less than, okay, highly integrated, okay. So, it depends on how well you and I discuss. Remember, this is something that is fluidic. इसका समझ अगर develop करना है, तो you got to do what? You got to talk to me as much as possible, either through the group that we will make or the online system that we are having. If you are not able to attend offline, or offline you are attending, well and good, okay, because level of interaction will always be more that way, okay. Nevertheless, lecture will be delivered it in such a manner that you understand easily, I would say. Okay. Chalo. So, this is the syllabus. This is broadly the syllabus of your international relation. Now, let's understand one problem. First, one problem samajhte hain. Okay. Let's talk about a nation, country, or state, anything. There is a difference, but today's agenda is not to make the distinction between nation, state, or other things, okay, country, nation, and I'll write international. Okay. Now, when we see a nation, अपना India है, ठीक है? India है, let many states, ठीक, clear? We have constitution, clear? What is constitution? We don't know. What is the role and function of the state? We don't know. It's okay. But we have that. This much we are sure, right? Okay. Then this is one, this is second, this is we have government. Okay. Central government, union government and the state government है अपने पास. Clear? ठीक. Then let's not go there. ठीक है. Let's not talk individual thing. Okay. State wise, bigger thing. We have sovereignty. Okay. Sovereignty है. Okay. Constitution है तो उसमें institution है. Constitution include institution and its functioning. ठीक है. चलो. These are the things that we are having. Minimum, bare minimum. I can add few more, but let's keep it this much. International में देखते हैं. First thing, many states है, many countries. Problem नहीं है. Do we have constitution there? International constitution, anything? Any idea? Guess. देखो, it doesn't. When we are building something, okay, many of you already know that what we try to do, we try to build a concept, okay. While building a concept, only concept will help you get excellent marks, alright. If we are building a concept, don't be hesitant about right or wrong, okay. Just say whatever is there in your mind, okay. There is one question, sir, how it's going to be different from IR in GS2 and GS3? In GS3 we don't have IR, okay. In GS2 we have IR. It's different because it's deep. If you have read this, you don't have to even attend the IR classes in GS, okay. This is very deep, very comprehensive, it is optional, alright. There you see, when you read about India and USA, there maximum you read like convergence and divergence, recent development, that's it. No, it goes far beyond that, okay. It's not GS, it's optional. Depth होगा इसमें, interlinkages होंगे, all these things are constituent of your optional, okay. GS is, remember, any subject of GS is surfacial. It is only at the surface, okay. Alright. When you talk about any optional, it shows depth, अंदर घुसना है, okay. चलो. Many states, many countries that we have. Now constitution. Do we have constitution? International constitution, anything? We have international laws. International laws we have, you are saying, like for example UN Charter, okay, fine. For the time being, let's talk it, okay, chalo. Second question is, third question is, do we have government? Different country they have government, but do we have one centralized government? No government. International body is there, United Nations sovereign? In general देखते हैं तो भाई no, okay, ठीक है. Now अच्छा एक चीज बताओ, common sense, people of Karnataka and ऊपर किसी स्टेट को, people of Maharashtra, ठीक है. There is state police of Karnataka, state police of Maharashtra. Karnataka क्यों ना जाके, let's, Pune is very that city, rising city. Why not acquire Pune? Why we in Karnataka is thinking that let's acquire Pune. That will add to your revenue, na? That will add to your GDP. Pune को ले आओ अपने अंदर. Or let's go and take Chennai inside us. Chennai is even bigger. Hyderabad is also good. कर्नाटका नहीं कर सकता ये, क्यों? Why? You have doubt on yourself. Why can't we do that? We have forces, we have people, we have resources, we can fight and we can capture. Pune captured, Chennai captured, Hyderabad captured. No state will be as powerful as you are then. Later on, we will capture Mumbai as well. Why can't I do? They will not give away Pune. You are saying that. But we can conquer if we try, right? So why are we not trying is the question. Question is, why are we not trying? Huh? We are regulated by the laws. Okay. Haan. Dekho. The point of a union government, the point of a central government is that it has overwhelming power over everyone else. If these two countries start, these two states start fighting, if Karnataka thinks कि पुणे को ले लेते हैं, चेन्नई को ले लेते हैं, then it is not Chennai or Pune, it will be central government that will be sending its military to enforce its will. Because why they will do? ऐसा नहीं क्या रे? ऐसे कैसे? ऐसा नहीं कि उनको मोदी जी हैं तो बहुत ताकत है. No, its constitution, it is written, indestructible state, union of destructible state, center is supreme. You have power, you can regulate, you manage your affairs, no one is questioning, but you cannot change your boundary. But if central government wants, they can change your boundary. Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, MP. ठीक है? Constitution says so, and Constitution gives power. Okay? And the Constitution was made by the people of India. That's why in the preamble it is written, we the people of India, हम लोगों ने मिलके संविधान बनाया है, to constitute India into sovereign secular जो भी है, ठीक है? तो Constitution doesn't allow. Here there is no central government, no agency to enforce. Even if there is a law, which I am questioning, I am putting a caveat, even if we say there is a law, still there is no one government, supreme government, that can enforce the law. Superpower attacked, law says one country shall not attack to another country. कर दिया रशिया ने, कर दिया यूएस ने. Karnataka government cannot do. Maharashtra government is, if they want, कि गोवा को acquire कर लेते हैं, they can't do, because Constitution says, and Constitution gives power to the central government to enforce the will of the people. So international law is a law that is not obligatory for everyone to subscribe. Remember first, India का ही ले लो example. India is not a party to many of international agreements, many of international bodies, many provision of international law. नहीं है. Okay. So it's not obligatory, but here it is. कहाँ गया? Here it is obligatory. You have to accept no matter what. Now, okay, ध्यान सुनो. You understand anarchy? Anyone is fighting against anyone, might is right. This is a situation of anarchy. Now, can you imagine a situation of anarchy here? Because central government is there. कि state government लड़ेगा तो central government आ जाएगा. And district, we have so many districts. ठीक है कि northern Karnataka southern Karnataka से लड़ लेते हैं. Can they do? No. State government will come, and the state government, if they are not able to manage it, then the central government will send its military forces. First paramilitary, then if the need be, then military will be sent. But ये होने नहीं देगा. Third party is intervening. Remember this, third party is intervening. But here, who is that third party who could intervene in the first place? Third party है कौन? UN? Do UN have forces? All UN can do is to give lip service. Sometimes they would say something and then they will go mute. No one is listening to UN. That's why here it is anarchical. System is very much anarchical. Here there is no anarchy. Okay. Now in an anarchical situation, अगर मान लेते हैं, for example, anarchical. In an anarchical situation, certain things arises, certain question arises. One of the question is that why state behave in the way they behave. When I say state, I mean country. Okay. When I use the state, don't think I am talking about state government. No, no. I am talking about country, India, Pakistan, China, ऐसे. Fine. So when America is behaving the way it behaved, why it is behaving that way? When Pakistan behave in the way they behave, why they are behaving that way? Should, now another question is, should international cooperation become the basis? Or if it become the basis, will it reduce the chances of war? Because if the behavior is not controlled, war you cannot stop. And if you are warring, then it is the harbinger of disorder. Why war happens? How collaboration can be built? How to balance one country against another country? How to study the behavior of a state? All these questions are important and pivotal question of your international relation. That's the reason why, beta, we study approaches. Approaches means, देखो, if I ask you one question, okay, one simple question, ठीक है, let's have a discussion. People who are online, they can put up their question or queries or whatever, all right? अब, forget about approach. I use the term approach. We'll deal with the term थोड़ी देर बाद. But let me ask you. I'll start with her. Whatever comes in your mind, just speak out. All right. Tell me, कि with Pakistan, everyone knows Pakistan in one way or the other, है ना? Pakistan, should India adopt this high-handed approach? कि एक बूंद पानी का जाना नहीं देंगे. India is very powerful. Why not let's take our land or some of their land as well? India can do. Today we are in that situation. Or should India adopt a collaborative approach? People to people connection. Let's make this connection further stronger. Which approach do you think will be a good approach in your eyes? First one, high-handed approach. All right. What about you? First one. First one. Second one. Okay. First one. Okay. Many people say first one. Okay. And some people say second one. Okay. There is no right or wrong. First thing you understand. Okay. Now, so you have some idea about the behavior of Pakistan. We have not read Pakistan entirely. How it is formed, why it is formed, why it is doing the way it is doing. Okay. These are the things that is the point of discussion in the future classes. But एक चीज तो clear हो गया. Everyone has their own thinking. from the discussion, we come to know that everyone has their own thinking. So when my thinking is different and your thinking is different, means I am approaching to one problem from different direction. Do you agree? Hagini. So when a scholar would look at the international system, they might visualize differently. All right? They might visualize differently. I visualize in X manner, you visualize in Y manner, some people will visualize in Z manner. Now this visualization will become approaches. Okay? This visualization will become approach. So what is approach to international relation? It is the way a scholar look at the international system and try to understand, try to theorize the nature of the state, why the state behave in the way it behaves, nature of the international institution, essentiality of international institution, and essentiality particularly in maintaining peace, harmony and development of the world. Okay, that would become your approach. There are many approach. All right, there are many approach. All right, so I'll come back to approach one more time. Before that, I would like to talk little about discipline of political science. Okay, not political science, sorry, international relation ही बात करते हैं IR. Okay, हाँ, whatever schematic, whatever thing I write and draw, everything should be there in your notes, because simultaneously we will make short notes as well. ठीक है, after a few days, not starting from today, in the future we'll start making short notes as well, and this will help you, anything that is written here. Okay, I will teach you through schematics. Fine, one moment. Now देखो, IR as a discipline is very old as history. ठीक है, जब भी, whenever you have two things, ठीक है, one is commanded by X and another is commanded by Y. Any kind of relationship, whether it is a relationship of war or relationship of collaboration, that become international relation. Simple. Clear? चलो. But disciplinary तरीके से अगर हम देखें, in terms of discipline, then you will see the treaty this become the basis. Now Europe, देखो, Europe, no continent fought war like Europe did. ठीक है, they fought for 200 years and continuously for 30 years. Continuously for 30 years, no continent fought war like that. 200 साल लड़ते रहा, तुमको हम मार देंगे, तुम हमको मार दोगे, ठीक है, वैसा 30 years war, लगातार 30 year तक तलवार, बूढ़ा हो गया उस समय तक चलाते चलाते आदमी, ठीक है, बंदूक का तो टाइम था नहीं कि लाया खत्म, तलवार, इट टेक्स टाइम, थक गया तो बोले 10 मिनट रुक जाओ, फिर उठेंगे फिर लड़ेंगे, लंच टाइम हो गया तो रुक जाओ, खाना खा के फिर लड़ेंगे, ठीक है, ऑलराइट, ऐसा ही होता होगा. 30 years, who fights for 30 years continuous? After 30 years a treaty was signed, grand treaty. Now it has brought so many things, but there is one thing most significant that it has brought. It has brought the concept of sovereignty, rather I would say territorial sovereignty. Territorial sovereignty simple means that whatever area is there, ठीक है, एक एरिया है मान लो, okay, let's say Bangalore का एरिया एक, fine. If Bangalore is sovereign, means the ruler will be sovereign in that sense, means no external agency, people or anything can influence the ruler of Bangalore. That means it is sovereign. How say we can say India is sovereign? Because no external force can force us to do what we want to do. इसीलिए जब होता है कि if China says something, United States says something, then our foreign minister or foreign secretary or spokesperson of Ministry of External Affairs, they come and they say, do not interfere in our internal matter. मतलब do not come in the matter of our sovereignty. We'll do what we please. Sovereignty मतलब ठीक है. Now territorial sovereignty. Territorial मतलब कि you have that kind of power, the power just I demonstrated in a particular territory. इस टेरिटरी पे तुम्हारा सोवरेंटी है. No one will question you. The greatest outcome of this treaty is territorial, the concept of territorial sovereignty. It was established in international system that time, Europe में. Okay, 1648. Now, this territorial sovereignty gave rise to the idea of nation state. It gave rise to the idea of nation state. In earlier time, city state hota tha. Okay, if you see Europe, then in earlier times we had this system of city state. One city like Bangalore kind of city, that itself declared I am the state. अब बगल वाला कोई होगा मैसूर, I am the state. Population was less, very less. Okay, तो छोटा छोटा चलता है. As population grew, human aggregate, human conglomeration, that Congress started growing. Okay, many settlements. पहले 5 settlement था, अब 500 settlement है. 5 to 500 settlements. So much of expansion. The society became complex then. ठीक है, अब 2 लोग हैं, मान लो ये दोनों हैं, these 2 people. 2 है तो कोई टेंशन नहीं है, अपना बिंदास. No much, not much rule is there. Now third party came, fourth party came, fifth party came, sixth party came. अब जैसे जैसे लोग बढ़ेंगे, then okay, पहले यही दोनों था तो दोनों अपने में बात करता था, दोस्त था. थर्ड पार्टी केम, ठीक है, तो उसमें लगेगा कि यार हमारे से दोस्ती क्यों टूट रहा है, समय कम मिल रहा है हमको. पहले खेलने चलते थे, अब नॉट, शी इज नॉट रेडी टू प्ले. ठीक है, फोर्थ पीपल केम, complexity again increased. Fifth people came, complexity again increased. Population rises, society become complex. This is how society evolved. Society is such a small thing, yet we require an entire discipline of sociology to study it because of the complexity it grew into. समझ गए? Okay, so nation state came, matlab this is one nation, okay, and it has the power of a state. What is a nation? That's a very controversial topic actually. This is something we'll study later, but for the purpose of understanding, I'll give you one line. It has to do with some sort of natality, natal से लेना देना, nation. Natality matlab European version, if I put it European version, I don't want to come in Indian version because Indian version में उल्टा होगा. Okay, we have a very complex system. All right, so we'll talk about it later. But in a simple terms, if I have to tell you what is a nation, then it is a congress of people living together, sharing same sort of culture. For example, European nationalism, if you see, then in Europe, England, if you go, then you will find English speaker. Then there is this channel. इधर से कूद के उधर चले जाओ, पहुंच गए फ्रांस. ठीक है, फ्रांस में फ्रेंच पीपल, जर्मनी, जर्मन पीपल, ठीक है, नेदरलैंड में डच पीपल, स्पेन स्पेनिश, पोर्टुगल पोर्टुगीज, वन लैंग्वेज वन नेशन. Language became the integrating factor. Sense of belongingness, sense of oneness is infused by, here in this case, infused by language. India case mein alag hai. Don't never ever make an analogy with India. India is very complex, very different. We'll talk later. So that system emerged. Okay, and these are not small city state like Bengaluru, Mysore, and likewise. These are Karnataka. These are like Maharashtra. These are like UP. These are like Bihar. These are like Assam. Like that. All right. That kind of system emerged. Now, nation state emerged. Matlab territorial integrity means this is a nation which has complete sovereignty over this boundary. Okay. Adjoining there will be a nation which has complete sovereignty over here. Okay. Now, I have complete sovereignty, the other country has complete sovereignty, the next country has complete sovereignty, and the treaty says breach of territory, ठीक है, breach of territorial sovereignty is a breach, is a call for war. एक लाइन खींच दिया इन्होंने, they have drawn a line that territorial integrity of a country is paramount for its sovereignty. तो यहां का जमीन ये लेना बहुत मुश्किल हो गया, ठीक है. इफ यू वांट देन मेक यूज ऑफ दिस एरिया बाय ट्रेड कॉमर्स में भी, म्यूचुअली बेनिफिशियल अग्रीमेंट, लेट्स साइन इट, बट लेट्स नॉट बार्ज इनटू इट. घुस नहीं सकते हो तुम. ओके, दिस इज समथिंग दैट दिस पर्टिकुलर ट्रीटी हैज एस्टैब्लिश्ड, and from there real international relations started because nation aa gaya, many nation, theek hai. Greece was a nation, mante hain agar to. In Greece there was Athens, in Greece there was Sparta, in Greece there were many city states, everyone was ruled by different rulers, and there is no one called the government of Greece, but all they call themselves as Greece. We are people of Greek, but there is no government of Greek. Athens alag, Sparta alag, and so many, bahut sara tha alag alag. But here that Greece concept came, nation came. When nation started coming up, then relationship between them is international relation. From here, if you draw the genesis, if you try to scrap the that beginning of the discipline of international relation, then you have to draw from 1648. All right, ठीक है, यहां तक तो हुआ. But if you see the books written on history, international relation, it is again more like history. There is no theory. For example, if you have discipline of sociology, social stratification is a theory. Scholars like Max Weber gave so many theory, that become theory. If you read politics, then Plato has its theory, Aristotle theory, Machiavelli का theory. हर discipline में एक theory देखेंगे. But in international relation, no theory, no concept, no theory, no approach. It continued, in fact, as a part of history. It was not segregated totally. The first dedicated attempt towards the development of the discipline of international relation, matlab ek alag book, alag concept, that will emerge just after World War II. Complete separation, matlab after this it became an autonomous discipline. After World War II it became autonomous discipline. So we can say that this subject is not very old in that sense. The tactics and other thing that I will be teaching you, you will find the evidence of those tactics in ancient writings as well. But tactics is different, okay? But theorization is different. Segregating it from politics, segregating it from history is very important for the development of a discipline. So in this manner हम और आप कह सकते हैं that ये it's a new discipline, it's a new subject in that matter, okay? But whatever evolution it has gone through within the span of this many years, कितना 82 83 years, 6 5 6 83 years, ठीक है, approximately 82 83 years लगभग, when Marganthu wrote the book, near about that, okay? So only in 80 85 years, whatever is the number, the discipline has undergone a massive change, and there are 3-4 shifts that came. One in 1945, one in 1979, one in 1991, and one that is happening right now. Abhi chal raha hai jo. You are living in an extraordinary age, remember it. This is the time world order is changing the way world order was changing between World War I and World War II. The period between World War I and World War II, that period, if you see the kind of geopolitical shift that was happening at that time and geopolitical shift that is happening right now, you can draw many parallels. After World War II, event का मैं बात करूं, that has a tectonic shift, that has shifted geopolitics a lot, is 1979, 1991 and the present generation. This is the third wave. So you are living in an extraordinary time, okay? That's the reason why I once said कि पहले international relation पढ़ना जरूरी है, okay? All right, ठीक. Now let's move further. Okay, ऐसा करो ना, do one thing, write something, put up a heading, approach in international relation, approach in international relation. Under that, write down approaches refers to a broad framework or perspective used to understand, explain and analyze the behavior of the states and other international actors para change. In other words, an approach in IR, in other words, an approach in IR is a systematic way of studying and explaining studying and explaining international politics based on a set of assumptions concepts and methods. Para change. The international system is complex. Different scholars, full stop, different scholars interpret the same event differently. Approaches, full stop, approaches helps us to answer questions such as pointers niche. Why do state go to war? Next, why do country cooperate? Next, what is the role of international organization? Next, what is the role of international organizations? Next, how do power, ideas, and economic interests shape the world politics? All right, chalo. Now, हम लोग कौन कौन सा अप्रोच पढ़ेंगे? Few approaches are written directly in your syllabus. Some of the things I will teach you that's not in your syllabus, but questions are asked, will be asked. ठीक है? अप्रोचेस बहुत अच्छे समझ लिए, तो दैट इज वन थिंग वी कैन यूज एवरीवेयर. आराम आराम समझना है. ओके ओके. So we have number 1, realism. Constructivism, then ठीक है चलिए सो रियलिज्म आइडियलिज्म और लिबरलिज्म मार्क्सिज्म फेमिनिज्म constructivism functionalism systems approach English school there is also one critical school देखेंगे मनोगत पढ़ा देंगे okay the most two important is these two the real fight is between them number one number two okay in fact in even in number one for example realism there are many schools sub schools ठीक है there are many sub schools चलो let's talk about realism this sometimes realism is also called as real politic मैं यहां नहीं लिखूंगा इधर लिख देता हूं K politic K also called as real politics so don't get confused both are same ठीक है but academically this is not the word that is used okay academics में word यही use होगा always without any doubt okay real politics is mostly used in common parlance ठीक है when we speak when we write article ठीक है then we use this term okay explaining the relation between let's say India and China you can use that word no problem or you can use this always you can use that word okay in your answer writing as well okay chaliye first realism as the name suggests realism okay it simply says become real all right कभी कभी आपको लोग को भी बोलते हैं ना पापा लोग ठीक है दुनिया में हवा में दुनिया में मत खोड़ो जमीन पे आओ practical is different and living in a wonderland is different हम लोग भी बोलते बोलते बहुत फेंक देते हैं कभी कभी क्यों टेंशन लेते पापा एक दिन टाइम्स मैगजीन में नाम आएगा फोर्ब्स में नाम आ जाएगा आज प्रधानमंत्री मोदी है वहां पे कल मैं हो सकता हूं हो सकती हूं फिर पिताजी क्या बोलते नहीं अच्छा बात है बेटा लेकिन अब जमीन पे आ जाओ पहले आईएएस बन के दिखाओ बाद में प्रधानमंत्री बनना ऑल राइट so this realism simply means reality now the question is what is reality okay there is one thing when we say when we talk about reality there is one thing that is metaphysical like Plato would say कि धरती पे जो है वो रियल नहीं है अनरियल थिंग है दिस इज अनरियल व्हाट इज रियल इज इट मेटाफिजिकल ऊपर है, ओके, स्पिरिचुअल लेवल पे। आई एम इंटरनेशनल रिलेशन विल नॉट टॉक अबाउट इट. इंटरनेशनल रिलेशन विल टॉक ओनली अबाउट द थिंग वी कैन टच. फॉर देम व्हाट इज रियल इज कि जो ताकतवर है तुमको पीट देगा, दैट्स इट. एक और रियलिटी है, मेटाफिजिकल रियलिटी, दैट इवन इफ यू बीट मी ब्लैक एंड ब्लू, शरीर, बोलने वाला बोलेगा शरीर तो नश्वर है, आत्मा अमर है. यू समटाइम्स mortal is the body, immortal is the soul. If somebody says this, that's also real in a sense, but that's a metaphysical interpretation of things. But yahan pe jo baat ho raha hai, we are talking about a material interpretation of the thing. Material interpretation means if I am of this height and someone is of this height, then this someone can beat this. So when this someone is standing, you should be silent. अब अमेरिका के सामने ज्यादा चिल्लाएगा तो अमेरिका पीटेगा. पावर. यूक्रेन बहुत उड़ रहा था, रशिया पीटेगा. Material interpretation. So in international relation, when we talk about things, we are talking about mostly material things. समझ गए? Don't think metaphysical. कि शरीर को क्या मार लोगे तुम, आत्मा तो अमर है. हमारा मर नहीं है, ठीक है, जो है इधर ही है. All right. So we will think it that way. Now, few things we have to understand. I told you, and do remember one thing. This approach, beta, actually came first before this, but there was no scholar as such who dedicate a book for this. This came in between, not in between, just after the end of, or almost it is World War I, when it was about to end, this actually came. और अगर डीपर रूट देखोगे तब तो और पीछे जाना पड़ेगा. बट इन प्रैक्टिकल सेंस इफ यू सी, देन इट स्टार्टेड समवेयर नियर देयर. ठीक है, वर्ल्ड वॉर वन. नाउ दिस केम इन द लेट 1930s and in the first half of 1940s, where dedicated book, for the first time dedicated book was written not on politics. Dedicated book was written on international politics. That's why I'm teaching you this first before this, but chronologically yeah happened. But those things were happening, but there is no unified theory as such, no dedicated book as such. All right, तो यहां से हमें स्टार्ट करना है, इसीलिए मैंने पहले बोल दिया आपको. नाउ सो इन द एकेडमिक realm में अगर देखते हैं, then I said late 1930s and early 1940s it came. Okay, it came. Okay, now realism's main, I will say one line, if I say main theme is one very simple line. One line I'll write, just nothing but power politics. Realism, if I say, if somebody asks you, if you go in the interview and somebody asks me, tell me one thing about realism. As a student of political science, your answer should be crisp. You cannot give a lengthy explanation to it. That is something that other student, mathematics optional student can give as well. So what is your defining attribute then? One line. Realism पूछा, सीधा एक line, power politics. How to maintain that power? Why power politics is important? Realism as a theory will explain to all these things. Okay. So the roots, let's talk about the roots of realism. ठीक है? Roots of realism, let's talk. So there is this historian, ध्यान सुनना. There is this historian during the time of Aristotle and Plato. Thucydides. ठीक है? Thucydides. Okay. Nowadays, this Thucydide trap is in the news for the last 7 years. But Xi Jinping, the Chinese president, used this term during the time of visit of Donald Trump. We'll talk about the trap later on. But he wrote one very famous book. In about 2500 years ago, there was this war, famously called as Peloponnesian War. So he wrote the history of Peloponnesian War. In that history, he wrote many things about what was the advantage of Sparta and what was the disadvantage of Athens. Sparta, being a small country, brutally defeated Athens. Athens considered themselves as the civilizational fountain of entire Greece. अपने आप को समझता था वो Athens. Okay, and from there, this Athenian and Spartan rivalry started. Okay, so he wrote a book on that Peloponnesian War. Now, he said that he spoke about basic human nature. In that book, he said basic human nature is selfish. Fundamental human nature is selfish, is egoistic. Okay, and remember, these are the people, same people who will be ruling as well. The fundamental nature मेरा कैसा? मैं ego वाला आदमी. I am egoistic person. My nature is selfish. Before thinking about you, I will think about myself. Me, myself, my, हर चीज. Always I will think about my interest. So the people, the policy maker, the ruler, the king, prime minister, or president, or during that time king, okay, they will think, because they are human, they will think about themselves. Selfish creature hai. Human are selfish. The book, उसी book में ये ने बोला, ठीक है, okay, and in a system, he said that in a system where there is no central authority, when there is no central authority, then it become obvious, क्योंकि international system में even today there is no central authority, उस time में क्या होगा? Even today we do not have central authority. उस time में तो you cannot even imagine. So he is writing such a visionary person. He said that in a system where there is no central authority, absolutely no central authority, there insan first thing selfish, then secondly no selfish central authority, then the attempt made by the human or the state for that matter will be selfish in nature. And when you say selfish, then you say that they will try to protect themselves even at the cost of someone else. ठीक है, मुझे पता है, ठीक है. C and me roommate. Announcement is made कि कल जाके cyclone आएगा. Okay, and I don't have money. I know that she has money. Me being a selfish person, I will steal my money to buy bread or other essentials so that I will not suffer. He is explaining that human beings are like that. So when there is no central authority, if Iran is under sanction for last 45 odd years, up and down रख लो, 1979 के बाद they have been under sanction. ठीक है, Oil resource is the only resource, but they have amassed huge amount of this missile. They don't have air force, they have missiles. Okay, why they did amassed missile even at the cost of their own people? Reason is one: self-interest. When there is no central authority, he knew that tomorrow if a war broke out between them and any other country, no one will come rescue me. Okay, everyone is selfish. I have to rescue my own self. I need to enhance my power. So my power pehle missile. Then they said, if I get nuclear, then power. North Korea, can you do anything to North Korea? No. Why? Missile. Hey, ऊपर से न्यूक्लियर भी है. ठीक है. ज्यादा कोई अमेरिका बोलता है, कुछ भी बोलता है, क्या करता है? मिसाइल मार देता है. खाली मिसाइल. ठीक है. It crosses through the territorial boundary of Japan or Korea. And Japan, Korea has this agreement, defense pact agreement of protection with United States. अब अमेरिका टेंशन में आ जाता है. Can you do anything like? No. Why they did it? Their people are poor. Their people are disempowered. Yet they are doing it. What is the reason? Reason is, as Thucydide would say, कि human beings are fundamentally selfish, and particularly in a system where no centralized authority is there, then it becomes obvious that people will acquire as much power as they want. तो Thucydide यही चीज बोलता था. ठीक है, क्योंकि नहीं तो अदरवाइज अगर इतना मिसाइल नहीं होता, अभी क्या तक होता? अमेरिका वुड हैव कैप्चर्ड इट. बट अमेरिका को भी क्या किया? हॉस्टेज पे रखा है. द रेपुटेशन ऑफ अमेरिका इज degrading as the day passes, as the war elongates. The greatest military power ever born, United States of America, can't control a poor country, a small country like Iran. ईरान ने उसको गला पे पकड़ लिया है. वर्ल्ड बोल रहा है यार, क्या यार अमेरिका तुम भी. Why the hell did you start the war? Okay. America has no option. Donald Trump not able to sleep. ठीक है. The roots of this idea is in Thucydide. Another is next inspiration of this realist are Machiavelli. Machiavelli क्या बोलेगा? वो तो only says power. Machiavelli क्या बोलेगा? सिर्फ power. Every only reality is power. He would say, normally भी बोलता था international relation तो छोड़ो. He says this thing in a normal sense. Forget about international relation. He said, nothing is important. Nothing is permanent. The only thing that is permanent is national interest. And for the sake of national interest, there is no road of morality or immorality. If it is serving the national interest, then question of morality or immorality should not come. In international relation, that's why this question of morality and immorality doesn't come. ठीक है. कल आपके साथ थे, कल उसके साथ दोस्ती कर लिया. Who will become friend and who will become enemy, you would not know. Before Donald Trump, when Donald Trump was fighting election, many Indian people started doing Havan. Donald Trump को जिताना है मंत्र पढ़ के. When Donald Trump won, people started distributing laddu. Almost entire India, by partition, मैं कह रहा हूं, almost entire India was happy कि Donald Trump became the president. First time our prime minister visited, the way communication went, it felt कि हाँ और अच्छा होगा. उसके 2 महीने बाद जो पलटा, पता ही नहीं चल रहा है अमेरिका इज द सेम अमेरिका हमने जिसके लिए हवन किया डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प कंप्लीट पाकिस्तान पूरा पूरा पाकिस्तान के साथ हो गया समथिंग मस्ट हैव हैपेंड इसका मतलब है some priority or strategic radar must have shifted. What are those shifting? We'll analyze it later on. I am not interested in that right now. We'll talk about it. But the point is, Machiavelli ne kya bola? No friend, no enemy. The only thing that is permanent is national interest. And for the sake of national interest, no morality, no immorality, everything is right. Everything is right. Even after killing 1 crore people, if my nation becomes stronger, then I'll kill 1 crore people. This is the logic. Genghis Khan का logic है ये. ठीक है. Machiavelli said it. So pure power politics. Okay. Power means how can you say, sir, today you have become less powerful. Or today you have become more powerful. How can you say that? It's all about my influence. If I can exert more influence on you, I become more powerful. If I can exert less influence on you, less powerful. In simple manner, if I have to put it, I'll put it that way. Do you agree? So more power or less power. So nations more power means national interest is serving. Nation less power, मतलब some national interest has gone down to the gutters. So this is the guy who will say this. Another one is Hobbes. Okay. Hobbes क्या बोलता था? Hobbes gave an idea of on human nature. Human का nature क्या होता है? Okay. He said that ध्यान सुनो. He said 2 things in terms of international relation. If we interpret his theory, he would say 2 things. Pehla cheez, that human beings are inherently selfish. Inherently selfish. Human being never thinks beyond himself. It's wrong to think that someone will think good about you. This is the statement of Hobbes, Thomas Hobbes. They will try to make them as much powerful as they can. For that, they are willing to do anything. Since this is the nature of the human being, I am like that, she is like that, she is like that, he is like that, he is like that, everyone is like that. Selfish, 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 selfish. ठीक है. Then society will become what? Anarchical. My selfish end will somehow or the other way come into her selfish interest as well. Today or tomorrow. I am not sure which day, but today or tomorrow, मेरा और इसका my selfish end and her selfish end will somehow come to the loggerhead. Then what? तो यही चीज है, इसीलिए बोलता है इट्स अ वॉर ऑफ ऑल अगेंस्ट ऑल, देयर सिचुएशन ऑफ एनार्की. ओके, सो द पॉलिसी मेकर्स, द पॉलिसी एग्जीक्यूटर, ऑल ऑफ दिस पीपल आर ह्यूमन एंड a nation after all is made up of human. ठीक है, तो इट्स अ फंडामेंटल थिंग दैट ह्यूमन बीइंग विल बी सेल्फिश, मींस नेशन शुड बी सेल्फिश. नेशन किससे बना है? आप मेरे से बना है. Then nation will be selfish in that manner, it would say. ठीक है. So in the West, if you see, then these are the 3 major. In the East, East का अगर हम बात करें, okay, this is West. In East, if we say, then 2 names comes to the forefront. One is Kautilya. Okay, actually, in my opinion, Kautilya should become, that Arthashastra should become or should be declared as the first book on geopolitics. It was written 2500 years ago, and I'll teach you Arthashastra later on. We have it in our syllabus. Your syllabus is very interesting. बहुत सारा उसमें चीज है. अर्थशास्त्र when I'll teach you in Indian political thought section, then you will learn that he has given a complete and exhaustive theory on global politics or geopolitics for that matter. Mandal Siddhanta is nothing but geopolitics, theory on geopolitics. He wrote it 2500 years ago. But since he is from India, हाँ इसको कैसे बोल दे? That is the first book of on geopolitics. Indian book को कैसे मान ले? We are inferior ना in the eyes of white men. So they will not declare it. Okay? लेकिन आज नहीं कल will also become very powerful, then will declare. Automatically it will happen. Okay, we don't have to do much. Let the great universities come, let India become $10 trillion economy, and automatically this sort of thing will start happening. Okay. Another is Chinese scholar Sun Tzu. Okay. Sun Tzu book लिखा है Art of War. Okay. Have you heard this book? Very famous. इधर मिलता है book stall, कोई भी book stall, railway station, everywhere you will find this book. People read it for the purpose of motivation. This is a strategic book, not a book of motivation. But they read it for motivation purpose. I have not read anything that was motivational here. It's a highly strategic book. Okay. Sun Tzu में बहुत सारा चीज है. Chinese followed it very much. Okay. If you read the foreign policy of China, it is very much inspired by Sun Tzu's idea. Very much. Okay. Sun Tzu has written extensively on geopolitics. Geopolitics पे ही लिखा है वो भी. If there would be any second book on geopolitics, it should be declared as the second book of geopolitics. Because India is a civilizational state. America is not a civilizational state. America has a history of 250 years. ठीक है. China, India, this type of countries have history of 2000 years, 5,000 years. Indus Valley civilization and all these things. Okay. So in East, if you see, then it becomes the inspiration. But by and large, I can say with 100% conformity that this book has never been referred in the, even if it might have referred, but no one gave it as a point of reference in writing any other books that will come on realism. But these books are basically written on realism. Realism पे ही लिखा गया है book. I'll teach you. This is something that is not in our syllabus, but Kautilya is in our syllabus, and I'll teach you all those things. ठीक है? चलो थोड़ा सा लिखेंगे आप. Write down a little bit. It is the most dominant approach in IR. It is based on Westphalian world order. Treaty of Westphalia wala Westphalian world order, comma, meaning it is state-centric model. It is state-centric model. Hence, realism would not give importance to, hence realism would not give importance to any other actor or agency, full stop, they consider even terrorists as proxies of the state. Proxies of the state, full stop. It is also called as power view of international politics. Acha, two things I will write down आगे, but two things. First thing, newspaper reading आज से particularly international relation related article start reading seriously, okay? Why I am saying? Because this is an area you can score like anything, and I'll teach you in such a manner that your notes, your understanding will be unmatched. Lekin I cannot do much if you will not work there, okay? Because your question will determine how well you are understanding things. It's not me putting up question in front of you. You will ask me as well. कैसा क्या हो रहा है, क्यों हो रहा है, नहीं हो रहा है, whatever is the case. All right. तो न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ो पहला चीज. दूसरा चीज, I made you write one statement that they consider even terrorists as proxies of the state. Okay. What's your opinion? Proxies of state मतलब state का एक machinery है, elongated wing. What do you think? Very controversial statement. Okay, so how religion is not state centric thing na? Not state country is equals to same, इसमें अलग अलग नहीं करने का अभी नहीं. State, country, nation, when I use the word, just meaning remains same for the time being. We'll talk about it in polity section. There will be difference, not before that. Okay. See, there are things we can write, there are things we cannot write. Okay. Islamic terrorism, by and large, propagated by Iran, when they supported or rather helped rage Hezbollah, Houthis, Hamas, and one that militia group in Iraq as well. Okay, but Hamas primarily was raised by Israel. अंदर का अगर बहुत अंदर घुस के बात करोगे तो ठीक. All these groups, Taliban and other things, terrorist group, America is a terrorist group, अब इससे दोस्ती कर रहा है. Who started it? USA themselves started it. They themselves started it to counter USSR. ISIS सबसे खतरनाक dreaded. Who started it? CIA, USA started it. बाद उसी से लड़ रहा है. Al Qaeda, who started it? Who was working for ये क्या कहते हैं this for whom Osama bin Laden was working? CIA. तो तुम्हारा ही हुआ ना, the state is doing ना, इसका मतलब they are saying it. They don't make distinction between these terrorist organizations and state. ध्यान रखिएगा, अभी we'll talk about it later on as well, but I just gave you an idea कि इस तरह से सोचो, start thinking like that. Okay, आगे लिखो, para change. Realism entered in academics. Realism entered academics in late 1930s and early 1940s. One moment. Then what about Pakistan, sir? Pakistan. पाकिस्तान तो डायरेक्ट टेररिज्म है. द पॉइंट इज पाकिस्तान को हम लोग इंटरनेशनली क्या कहते हैं? टेररिस्तान. ऑल राइट. इन इंडिया इंटरनेशनली पाकिस्तान क्या कहता है? कि टेररिस्तान. दे आर द लाइक, they are not number one. Iran was number one who started it. Then Pakistan learned it very quickly. America supported it. So in 1980s, this Pakistan along with USA, they trained Taliban. Talim se Taliban. Talim is a word what? Padhai likhai. It's a union of students who were made mujahideen. ठीक है. If you go in the history, these are तालिम से, the word Taliban came from तालिम. तालिम मतलब पढ़ाई लिखाई. ठीक है. तो पढ़ाई लिखाई वाले स्टूडेंट्स का ये था. It's a protest and they were benam, they made mujahideen and they went and fought. So it was not Pakistan alone. It is Pakistan plus USA against Soviet invasion in Afghanistan. अफगानिस्तान में लड़ना था. ठीक है. I'll tell you the entire story as the things unfold. We'll talk about it. Don't worry. Early 1940s, full stop. It was a theoretical response to the. It was a theoretical response to the idealist or liberal tradition. That began after World War I. After World War I. Realism, full stop. Realism sees IR mainly, sees SWS, sees IR mainly as a struggle of states involved in power politics within an anarchical system. Now put up a heading, roots of realism. First, number one, right, Western thinkers. Number one, Thucydides. Number one or A, whatever. Number one, Thucydide. Thucydides. Thucydides. He was an Athenian historian. Athenian historian historian who wrote history of Peloponnesian War. Peloponnesian, Peloponnesian War. Full stop. He wrote that that basic human nature is he wrote that basic human nature is egoistic and self-interested. Hence, they are power-seeking, Therefore, no place left for morality. Therefore, no place left for morality. Full stop. He further said that in a system where there is no overreaching authority, in a system where there is no overreaching authority, the only way to maintain order is the balance of power. Balance of power. Full stop. Otherwise, strong will exert their power on weak. Number B, Machiavelli. Under that, write down Machiavelli. He said, in politics, the only thing that is permanent is national interest. National interest. Hence, for a state, there is no morality. Hence, for state, there is no morality. State must do anything to secure power and enhance national capabilities. Next, Hobbes. Write down उसमें he described the state of nature as state of anarchy. Full stop. He also characterized human nature as human nature as selfish, and individualistic. Next. No, write down Eastern thinker, Eastern. Ancient scholars like Kautilya in his Arthashastra and Chinese scholar Sun Tzu extensively wrote about realist policies a state must adopt. Okay, ठीक है. Now put up a heading. Basic assumptions of realists, in bracket write down features. ठीक है. अच्छा. Now we had a discussion, roots ka discussion, how it started, little bit of international relation I already told you. Now you should tell me features क्या क्या हो सकता है इसका. Based on our discussion, I am not asking you something which you have absolutely no idea about. Based on that, tell me. Okay. Okay. State centric model एक है. Okay. State is important. Okay. State is the participant. No other agency, they will not believe in anything. ठीक है. Done. Very good. और अच्छा, national interest is paramount. Let me put it this way. Very good. और सोचो बोल पाओगे. आई एम श्योर. ऑनलाइन जो देख रहे हैं भाई, आप भी रिप्लाई कर सकते हैं. मटेरियलिस्टिक इंटरप्रिटेशन इसका, प्योरली मटेरियलिस्टिक. दो वन मतलब कह सकते हैं पावर पॉलिटिक्स, पूरा प्योर पावर पॉलिटिक्स. ठीक है. और सोचो. ठीक. देखो, सिंपल है. लर्निंग विल नेवर बी गुड as long as it is coming from me. Learning will be great when it start coming from you. हमने कभी कहाँ बोला, मैं always I say it. I never कि मतलब of course it is good to hear a correct answer, but I don't feel bad or I do not discourage even wrong answer. Give me answer. I am interested in answer, and even if it is horrible, doesn't matter. That's the only way you can start thinking. Thinking is what is needed in this exam. बोलो. Okay. So in international relation, power view of politics is there and morality is subordinated. Can I say? ठीक. और क्या हो सकता है? So the state को क्या सलाह देगा? What will be the recommendation? कि become power, acquire as much power as you can. And if you are not capable, for example, C is very powerful. I single-handedly cannot manage. Balance of power कर लेते 1, 2, 3 बोल के balance. China, ठीक है, you cannot balance China singly. You need, America also knows it. ठीक है. तो what you need countries जैसे कि Japan, not Russia नहीं आएगा. Not Russia. Japan, Quad, QUAD, to counter China. Okay. Economically, you cannot counter USA. So we made BRICS. That is like a balancing. ठीक है, very good. और क्या हो सकता है? Okay. Okay. तो वो भी हो सकता है. Vikas has also answered here. Supremacy of state, use of means to protect. Yes, national interest. Power बढ़ाओ as much as Morgenthau says. Hans Morgenthau. Tomorrow we'll talk about him. He is like the father of realism. Academically, he would say that assume so much power that you become a hegemon. Question ही ना कर सके. Blinded quest for power. Okay. So the everything that you said is correct. उसी को मैं अब लिखाऊंगा. Write down. Number 1, realist has a pessimistic view. Pessimistic view towards human nature. According to Hobbes, same. This is point number 1, and we are still writing point number 1. According to Hobbes, humans are selfish as well as hold the desire for supremacy. Therefore, according to Hans Morgenthau, 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 ठीक है? Hans Morgenthau. Reason for war is ingrained in human nature. Next, realist believe international system is anarchic. In bracket लिख दो. No supreme authority to control it. No supreme authority to control it. Next, they consider war as inevitable. War as inevitable. War as inevitable. Hence, they believe in the principle of self-defense. Comma. In other words, defense and security is the core responsibility of each nation state. Each nation state next, for self-defense, acquisition of power is essential. Therefore, state should maximize its power. Morgenthau said, Morgenthau said, quotation में, acquisition of power is the core subject of international politics. The core subject of international politics. Next, realist considered state as a main actor and other organizations are given no or lesser importance. Next, national interest is paramount. Morality, last one. Morality in international politics is subordinated. Okay. Now see, as I told you, even realism has many schools. For example, there is classical realism, then there is neo-realism, उसके बाद neo-classical realism, even post-colonialism is there. ठीक है? So the features that I made you write, similar sort of feature we will be writing in classical, neo, all these things, but resemblance will be there. That's the reason why I have dictated these features of realism as a whole, not necessarily classical, neoclassical, or that neo-realism. उससे मतलब नहीं है. It cut across all the different school of realism. ठीक है? It's the base of realism that we have discussed. Tomorrow agenda is to discuss the different shades of realism. ठीक है? तो tomorrow again same time we'll meet and we'll discuss. आज थोड़ा revise कर लीजिएगा. ठीक है, चलिए. Thank you very much.